Race fans, Matt Noonan here for another edition of OVDTR's This Week in the Valley. Well, racing season kicking into high gear as we near the month of April. Most of the tracks around the region have opened their doors for racing, and we've seen some great action already. OVDTR's cameras had a chance to make it out to Midway Speedway this past Friday night. Here's a look at the highlights. The first late model feature of the 2014 season would see Ronnie Mail and Jeremy Berwanger lead the field to the green flag at Midway Speedway. Berwanger gets a run off the high side and assumes the early lead of the race. On an early restart, Mail, after having fallen back a few positions, slides up and makes contact with another car. Race officials elect to send him to the back. That's not the last we'd hear from Mail, as he would quickly move his way back up into the top 5 with a nice 3-wide move down there to the inside, and he would continue to pick his way towards the front. Up front, Berwanger continued to lead the race, but he was feeling some heavy pressure from Tyler Carpenter. Carpenter got his chance on a restart, draws alongside Berwanger down the front straightaway, throws a slide job in turns 1 and 2, little bit of contact, but everybody continues on. You be the judge of that one. Berwanger tries to come back in the next corner, but runs out of real estate up on the high side, and Tyler Carpenter takes over control of the lead of the race. But another caution would come out. That would give Berwanger another shot as he tries a carbon copy of what Carpenter did to him a few laps ago. Bonsais into turn number 1, but doesn't make contact in the right spot of the car, spins himself out, and he could not complete the pass. Race officials, though, elect to keep Berwanger up in his number 2 position. But on that restart, Ronnie Mail would get a great run down to the inside as he drives 3 wide to the inside of Devin Moran and Berwanger to take over the number 2 spot. Mail all the way back up to second, but that allows Carpenter to get away, and Tyler Carpenter takes the checkered flag on night number 1 at Midway Speedway. Now it's time to take a look at our OVDTR winners from the past week. Coming up, plenty of big events on the schedule this weekend. We'll get you all caught up on our weekly schedule. But first, we'll talk with Joseph Rush from Beckley Motor Speedway and Chad McVey from Legendary Hilltop as they get set for big weekends. That's next on This Week in the Valley.
It's time to drop the green flag on the 2014 racing season at Beckley Motor Speedway. Be there April 25th for the Gold Rush. The Gold Rush. Super late models will race 30 laps for $2,000. But that's not all. Freights and modifieds will also have 30-lap main events. General admission tickets are just $12 and pit passes only $25. Don't miss the Gold Rush, April 25th at Beckley Motor Speedway.
Welcome back to This Week in the Valley. Well, as the racing off-season started last fall, there were a lot of unknowns surrounding Beckley Motor Speedway, at the time Beckley Motorsports Park, and its future heading into 2014. But fortunately, some folks were able to step up to the plate, and the track is still racing today. Joseph Rush from Beckley Motor Speedway now joins us. Joe, a lot of work went into getting the track raceable for this season. Tell us how it happened.
Rick Stratus, the end of last year was, he'd talked in the fall about getting the track with a few people, and then when everything happened at the end of last year, they just, it looked like it was going to sit idle, and Rick stepped up to the plate, said he didn't want to see the track, be closed down, and said he would, take on the challenge of getting the track going again.
We're certainly glad to have you guys racing again here in 2014. Obviously, for you guys, a lot of work in a short amount of time to get things going for this year.
We put together a whole season schedule and got the track ready. In what most people do in 6 months, we've done it in about a month and a half. So, it's come together quick, but I think it's going to be good. I think, we've got a good staff behind us this year. Rick and his family have worked so hard, and Chuck Maxwell, our track coordinator, everybody has just really went above and beyond, what they would normally do to get ready for this upcoming 2014 season.
And you guys are kicking the 2014 season off with a bang, starting with a big opening night here on Friday.
Yeah, this coming Friday, April 25th, we've got the Gold Rush. We're calling it the Gold Rush this year. It's going to be 30 laps for the super late models, 2,000 to win, 200 to start. We're not charging any kind of entry fee or anything. And then we're going to go ahead and do 30 laps for our fast track crates and our AMR Open modified. So it's going to be a big night. And then at intermission, we're going to have a bunch of coins we're going to lay down on the track and let our kids go down, and whatever they pick up, they get to keep. So big night for the kids, big night for the late models, just a big night all around, with the grand reopening of Beckley Motor Speedway.
Joe, one thing that I've noticed with your guys' schedule, and a lot of other folks have talked to me as well, is looks like we're seeing super late models a lot more than we have in the last couple of years. Is that something you guys have done intentionally?
I can say that we are going to be committed to super late models this year. In the past few years, they've not been the mainstay class at Beckley. And, I know Rick and his family are committed to building that class back up, for this first week. Already we've talked to some guys, to North Carolina, to Ohio, inviting them up and stuff. So really, really looking forward to a big show for this Gold Rush.
I'm sure a lot of folks are glad to hear that. And it looks like overall with this schedule, you guys are trying to kind of get back to the old days of Beckley Motor Speedway, and that seems to be a pretty popular sentiment.
We're bringing back the Henry Hornsby Senior Memorial Race, and we're going to go ahead and combine that with the Mike Pecos Senior Memorial and run that together for the crates in June. And then in August, we're going to have the Randy Thurman Memorial. We're bringing it back. A lot of the old races that had went away the past few years, we're bringing those back. And then we've got the OVSBA sprint cars coming in at the end of August, too. So we plan to have, at least one big race for every class of the track, even including our Hornets, our Outlaw Streets, and our Street Stocks as well.
Well, thanks for your time, Joe, and we certainly wish you guys the best as you get set for your opening night here on Friday, calling it the Gold Rush. Give them a look down at Beckley Motor Speedway, and we're certainly glad to have the track back up and running here in 2014. Coming up on This Week in the Valley, we'll have another sit-down with Legendary Hilltop Speedway's Chad McVey as they get set for a big modified race coming up this weekend. And, of course, we'll also give you our weekly schedule. That's next on This Week in the Valley.
Ron's Auto Center in Chester Hill, Ohio is proud to support OVDTR.com. The next time your personal vehicle needs a pit stop by Ron's for complete auto service. And when you're on your way to the races, stop in for a wide selection of deli meats, cheeses, pizza, subs, snacks, drinks, ice, and more. Ron's Auto Center, the one-stop shop for every race fan's needs, and a proud supporter of OVDTR.com.
Welcome back to OVDTR's This Week in the Valley. We're now joined by Chad McVey of Legendary Hilltop Speedway. Chad, this track really a great story. If you look at just the last couple years from reopening to where you guys are now, you've experienced a lot of success in a short amount of time. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I can tell you what, there's no harder working man than our owner-promoter, Lon Wessler. He spends more hours than I can ever imagine down there, working day in, day out on the track surface in the facility. For people that don't know, I know OVDTR did a nice little write-up at the beginning of the year. We showed some pictures of what the facility looked like when Lon and his crew took over. And, it was in shambles. And to think that was just a couple of years back. And we've continued, almost weekly making improvements, just trying everything they can do to make the facility as best as it can be.
Yeah, you mentioned the quick growth of the track. One of the New things you guys got coming up this year is adding late models to the schedule full time. What went into that decision?
We had the super late models in at least 3 times in 2013 for special events only. One night had close to 40 cars and have had outstanding racing in those divisions last year. So we decided to add them as a full-blown weekly class, combine our steel block class into one late model division, and we run them under the AMRA banner so the guys can get their AMRA national points.
Well, we'll get to your guys' schedule here in a minute, but first let's talk about the big event you guys have coming up for modifieds this weekend.
Lloyd Autos and Stores has sponsored a $1,000 to win and $125 to start 25-lap AMRA Modified Spring Championship. Kind of a special event for the AMRA Mod guys. And then on top of the modified special, we have a hot mod event, and it is a qualifying event for the Working Man's World Championship that's coming up in Tyler County in September. So we look for a lot of cars to be in the pit area.
Should be a great race. Now, what other events do you guys have coming up here in 2014?
We've also got a couple of TBAs on our schedule. Can't quite reach those yet as nothing's under contract or anything like that, but I'm hoping for a couple of big events there on those TBA dates in July and August. And at the end of the year, we have we'll have our biggest show to date planned the last Friday of September. And it'll be, I believe, a $3,000 to win late model show. I don't have the schedule in front of me, so I'm just taking this off the top of my mind. It's a $3,000 to win late model show, and also I believe a $1,500 to win modified show.
Thanks for your time, Chad. That's Chad McVey from Legendary Hilltop Speedway, as they'll be running a modified special this Friday night. They should pack the place, as they always seem to do down there in Marietta. Well, now it's time to take a look to the schedule ahead. Here's OBDTR's weekly schedule. Friday night, it's the Gold Rush at Beckley Motor Speedway. Late models racing 30 laps for $2,000 to win. Also on the docket that night, modifieds and crate late models, each with 30-lap main events. Southern Ohio Speedway racing for $2,000 to win in the late model division. The Fast Series is in the house at Attica. Modifieds with a $1,000 to win special at Legendary Hilltop Speedway. Midway Speedway hosts the Fast Track Series for a $1,000 to win main event. 250 and Limaland host their season openers. Jackson County, Lernerville, and Moeller Raceway Park will all host regular shows. Then coming up on Saturday night, Roaring Knob will host the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series for a $10,000 to win late model special. The Fast Series moves down the road to Fremont for an event. Oakshade Raceway hosts the Bill Reckner Memorial. Skyline Speedway has the Move Mods in the house for a $700 to win main event. Wayne County Speedway will host its season opener, and regular shows on tap at Atomic, Deerfield, Eldora, Hilltop, Ohio Valley, Pittsburgh, Princeton, Sharon, and Tyler County. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of This Week in the Valley. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you can make it out to one of the races live this weekend. So for the entire OBDTR staff, I'm Matt Noonan. We'll see you at the races.